Well, Prof, there's a story in the papers today.
That's who we are.
Well, Prof, there's a story in the papers today saying that you, as a leader of the Yoruba self-determination movement, you have now written to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to say that Yorubas would like to break away from Nigeria through negotiations. Do you think that President Tinubu will allow his government to sit at a table with some Yoruba people saying they want to break away from Nigeria when Section 2 of the Constitution says that Nigeria is indissoluble and indivisible?
That's what that's what the Constitution of Nigeria says.
All right. So I came across this video this morning as I was going through the internet space. And after watching this video, I sat back and I laughed. I actually find it interesting. That is why I said, okay, let me bring it down to our people to see. And let us also discuss a little about it. Now, there are three basic things that I'm talking about in this video. Yoruba nation, Nigerian constitution, and Nigeria not being dissolvable, of course, part of the constitution. Now, from Yoruba nation, one of the problems I have with my Yoruba people or Yoruba brethren is that they are not consistent. They are not. One person will just start up something. Before you know it, the government or one person will come and do them. Ooh, they will run and surrender. So that is just the problem I have with them, all right? But that one being aside, talking about Nigeria not being dissolvable and the Nigerian constitution, of course, the two together. One part of the Nigerian constitution said that Nigeria is not dissolvable. Excuse me. And some other part also talked about that the quest for self-determination is not a crime. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not actually committing any crime, right? None that are talking about it. But that one also being aside. Now, talking about the constitution, talking about Nigeria not being dissolvable, I asked a question. Under what circumstances was that law made? Now, before we go further, I saw a news on the internet space this morning where a former Nigerian senator came out and was saying something that during Obasanjo's time, the year 2000, 2001, and so on, that Obasanjo offered a sum of 70 million naira to senators, to support for his third tenure in office as president of Nigeria. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. A former senator said that. Now, let's assume that, of course, 2001, you know what 70 million is, ba? It's in billions now. So you know what we're talking about. Let's just assume that those people collected the money and, supported Obasanjo for third tenure in office. They will come out and say, oh, Nigerians, this is what we want, or this is what Nigerians want. Obasanjo is doing well, so let him continue in office, at least for this third tenure. That is what they will say, right? Without knowing that they did that out of what they have gained, out of their own interests. All right? So that is why I'm asking, under what circumstances was the law of Nigeria not being dissolvable made? Who and who was there? Who signed? Who else signed for that law to be, passed into or to be written into Nigerian constitution? Who signed for it and under what circumstances? Some group of people may come together for their own personal interest or for something they have gained. Come on. In Africa, they say we practice democracy, right? Yes, I think all African countries practice democracy. But yet, what we practice here is even more than autocracy. Yes, democracy is the will of the people. But unfortunately, in this part of the world, the will of the people don't even go quarter. It is the will of the leaders that we operate on. Whatever they wish is what happens. Yes. So, I'm still asking, under what circumstances was the law of Nigeria not being dissolvable passed into law? And of course, let me also remind you, there's something called constitutional amendment. Yes. Something might be in the constitution, and along the line, we see that this thing is no longer working for us, that this thing is no longer favoring us. We call for committee and call for constitutional amendment. So, whatever that is in Nigerian constitution, I know the Nigerian constitution, of course, the one they wrote in 1999, it has been amended a couple of times since 1999 to date. So I don't think, or I don't, see any reason why any part of the constitution cannot be amended if it is not, going well with the people of Nigeria again. Am I lying? Well, I don't want to talk about this too much. I just say let me drop this and then see what our people will say about that. So please, I want you to do well to drop your comment on the comment section what you think about this. But for now, I'm going to allow you to watch this video and see what our brother said. But as I said, my only problem with Yoruba people or my Yoruba brethren, I love them. I love them so much. Yes. My only problem with them is that they're not consistent. A couple of times, apart from Sunday Boo, we have seen a couple of them come out to talk about Yoruba nation. But unfortunately, after 2 months, 3 months, the voice dies down and that is all. Well, let's see how it goes, all right? But remember, as the Constitution said, that the quest for self-determination is not a crime. All right? Now, this video is for educational purpose. For those that would think that I'm supporting any kind of junkie in Nigeria, please just bear it in mind that this video is for educative purpose. And of course, I said before that whatever I'm telling you here, I give you with evidence. So what I've just said is just a kind of analysis to a video that a brother has made. Now I'm going to show you the video. Then as you're watching it, drop on the comment what you think about it, all right? For now, watch it.
Well, Prof, there's a story in the papers today.
That's who we are.
Well, Prof, there's a story in the papers today saying that you, as a leader of the Yoruba self-determination movement, you have now written to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to say that Yorubas would like to break away from Nigeria through negotiations. Do you think that President Tinubu will allow his government to sit at a table with some Yoruba people saying they want to break away from Nigeria when Section 2 of the Constitution says that Nigeria is indissoluble and indivisible?
That's what the Constitution of Nigeria says. But the law of Nigeria also, part of the law of Nigeria says that self-determination is a legitimate right. Well, because when the United Nations passed the declaration, Nigeria was a signatory to it. Nigeria brought the law, that declaration, to the National Assembly. The National Assembly approved it, and the President of Nigeria signed it. That made it part of the law of Nigeria. The same thing with the Africa Charter of human and people's rights. And courts in Nigeria have made the statement that fighting for self-determination is not unlawful in Nigeria. So we are not doing anything unlawful.
Yes, sir.
And we have no reason to want to stop it.
But sir, correct me if I'm wrong. The same Nigerian constitution says that even when we sign international covenants and conventions, it becomes law in Nigeria when it is domesticated. Now, you are an Awoist. You were part of the Awo movement and all of that. Awo, the late sage, wanted self-determination in the constitution, 1916, 1963. He never succeeded. And the Nigerian constitution does not allow anybody to say they want to break away from any part of Nigeria. So I don't know. I mean, you are the teacher of history.
The law, the laws of Nigeria allows individual Nigerians or groups of Nigerians to advocate for self-determination for their people. That cannot be contradicted. The laws of Nigeria allows peoples in Nigeria to advocate for the self-determination of their people.
But do you have any expectation that President Tinubu will sit down and negotiate for the Yorubas to leave Nigeria when he is himself a Yoruba man?
That is the business of the president. He will do what he thinks is good for the country. We will do what we think is good for our own nation from Nigeria. No matter how much you pander, you can't tell me, oh, is President Tinubu going to sit with us and so on. It's his duty to sit with us. That's his duty. The law says so. We write a letter to the president. It is his duty to answer us. and to, yeah, he can say no, what you are asking for, I won't grant it. But he has no right to say, he has no duty to tell us, I will not answer your letter.
But sir,
he has a duty to answer our letter.
You raised the same issues under the Buhari administration. President Buhari did not just ignore.
Yes.
He went after Sunday Igboho, and he showed that his government will not allow any kind of challenge from anybody, whether Yoruba or Igbo. Why would President Tinubu listen to you, even when you said you were not interested in the election?
Yeah, the president can say that as much as they like, but the president cannot unilaterally change the law of the land. That's the truth. The president, it is the duty of the president to say, oh, this country, I will preserve its unity. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But that does not negate the lawful right of the people of Yoruba land or whatever part of Nigeria to seek for their self-determination. That's the truth.
But anyway,
the important thing, however, and I'm surprised that you are not talking about that, is that the Yoruba people who are fighting for self-determination are telling the world and telling themselves that they will do it only peacefully. We are Yoruba. We know our status in the world. We know our status in the black world. We do not want to destroy the peace of Nigeria, and we do not want to bring difficulty into the lives of any other group in Nigeria. But we want to get out of Nigeria. That's it.
Well, Prof, there's a story.
Nigeria is a big lie.
A big lie?
Yes. I want to substantiate my claim of saying Nigeria is a big lie. Please, listen to Tafawa Balewa, Nigeria's first prime minister, in 1948. I quote him, "Since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country, but the Nigerian people themselves are historically different in their backgrounds, religious beliefs, and customs, and do not show themselves any signs or willingness to unite. Nigerian unity is only a British invention." Tafawa Balewa, 1948.
Yeah.
Okay. Now listen to Nnamdi Azikiwe, 1964. "It is better for us and many admirers abroad that we should disintegrate in peace and not in pieces. Should the politicians fail to heed this warning, then I will venture the prediction that the experience of the Democratic Republic of Congo will be a child's play if ever it comes to our turn to play such a tragic role." Nnamdi Azikiwe, 1964. Obafemi Awolowo, "Nigeria is not a nation. It is a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same context as there are English, Scots, and Welsh."
Okay.
1947.
Oloye Lokan Alabi,
Yes.
Thank you for featuring on State Affairs.
Thank you for inviting me.
And I looked at the topic, Igbo quest for Nigeria's unity. These are things that agitate my mind. I started thinking about how we've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders. And I feel that probably this will help us to have a conversation on the Nigerian unity. I just brought four, not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement, Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria from those who do not. This is accredited to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the former Prime Minister of the Western region. The second one, and I quote, "It is true that we politicians always delight in talking loosely about the unity of Nigeria. 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria. What is now Nigeria consisted of several large and small communities, all of which were different in their outlooks and beliefs. The advent of the British and that of Western education has not materially altered the situation, and the many and varied communities have not knit themselves into a composite unit. This is accredited to Sir Amadou Bello, former Premier of Northern Region. They thought, and I quote, since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country. But the Nigerian people themselves are historically different in their backgrounds, in their religious beliefs and customs, and do not show themselves any sign of willingness to unite. The Nigerian unity is only a British intention for the country. This is was said by Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, the former Prime Minister. The fourth and the last, let me not bore you. And I quote, each of our three regions is vastly different in many respects, but each has this in common, that despite variety of languages and custom, or differences in climate, all form part of one country which has existed as a political and social entity for 50.
All right. So you have seen it, but it's just quite laughable. Anyways, drop your comment on the comment section what you think about it. All right. Let's discuss at the comment section. Thank you very much. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you. God bless you.